Hello, everybody. This is The Psychology of the Unconscious by Carl Jung. Chapter 5, Symbolism of the Mother and of Rebirth, Part 1. The vision following the creation of the hero is described by Miss Miller as a throng of people. This representation is known to us from dream interpretation as being above all the symbol of mystery. Freud thinks that this choice of symbol is determined on account of its possibility of representing the idea. The bearer of the mystery is placed in opposition to the multitude of the ignorant. The possession of the mystery cults one off from intercourse with the rest of mankind. For a very complete and smooth rapport with the surroundings is of great importance for the management of the libido, and the possession of a subjectively important secret generally creates a great disturbance. It may be said that the whole art of life shrinks to the one problem of how the libido may be freed in the most harmless way possible. Therefore, the neurotic derives special benefit in treatment when he can at last rid himself of his various secrets. The symbol of the crowd of people, chiefly the streaming and moving mass, is, as I often seen, substituted for the great excitement of the unconscious, especially in persons who are outwardly calm. The vision of the throng develops further. Horses emerge. A battle is fought. With Silberer, I might accept the significance of this vision as belonging, first of all, in the functional category, because fundamentally the conception of the intermingling crowds is nothing but the symbol of the present onrush of the mass of thought. Likewise, the battle, and possibly the horses which illustrate the movement. The deeper significance of the appearance of the horses will be seen for the first time in the further course of our treatment of the mother symbolism. The following vision is a more definite and significantly important character. Miss Miller sees a city of dreams. The picture is similar to one she saw a short time before on the cover of a magazine. Unfortunately, we learn nothing further about it. One can easily imagine under this cité de rêve the fulfilled wish dream, that is to say, something very beautiful and greatly longed for, a sort of heavenly Jerusalem, as the poet of the Apocalypse has dreamed it. The city is a maternal symbol, a woman who fosters the inhabitants as children. It's therefore intelligible that the two mother goddesses, Rhea and Sibyl, both wear the wall crown. The Old Testament treats the cities of Jerusalem, Babel, etc. as women. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There's no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. That thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of the kingdoms. Jeremiah says of Babel, Your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Strong, unconquered cities are virgins. Colonies are sons and daughters. Cities are also whores. Isaiah says of Tyre, Take an harp, go to the city, thou harlot, thou'st been forgotten. And how does it come to pass that the virtuous city has become a harlot? We come across a similar symbolism in the myth of Ogyges, the mythical king who rules in Egyptian Thebes and whose wife is appropriately named Thebe. The Boeotian Thebes, founded in Cadmus, receives on that account a surname, Ogygian. The surname has been given to the Great Flood, as it was called Ogygian because it occurred under Ogyges. The coincidence will be found later on to be hardly accidental. The fact that the city and the wife of Ogyges bears the same name indicates that somewhere a relation must exist between the city and a woman, which is not difficult to understand, for the city is identical with the woman. We meet a similar idea in Hindu lore, where Indra appears as the husband of Urvara, but Urvara means the fertile land. In a similar way, the occupancy of a country by the king was understood as marriage with the plowed land. Similar representations must have prevailed in Europe as well. Princes had to guarantee, for example, a good harvest at their accession. The Swedish king, Domaldi, was actually killed on account of the failure of the harvest, Ynglinga Saga 18. In the Rama Saga, the hero Rama marries Sita, with the furrow of the field. To the same group of ideas belongs the Chinese custom of the emperor plowing a furrow at his ascension to the throne. This idea of the soil being feminine also embraces the idea of continual companionship with the woman, of physical communication. Shiva, the phallic god, is like Mahadev, the Parvati, male and female. He has even given one half of his body to his consort Parvati as a dwelling place. Enman gives us a drawing of the Pandit Ardhanarishwara, one half of the god is masculine, the other half feminine, and the genitals are in continuous cohabitation. The motive of continuous cohabitation is expressed in the well-known lingam symbol, which is to be found everywhere in Indian temples. The base of the female symbol, and within that is the phallus. The symbol approaches very closely with the Grecian mystic phallic basket and chests. Compare with the Eleusinian mysteries. The chest or box is here a female symbol, that is the mother's womb. This is a very well-known conception in the old mythologies. The chest basket, or little basket, with its precious contents, was thought of as floating on the water. A remarkable inversion of the natural fact that the child floats in the amniotic fluid and that this is in the uterus. The inversion brings about a great advantage for sublimation, for it creates enormous possibilities of application for the myth-weaving fantasy, that is to say, for the annexation to the sun cycle. The sun floats over the sea like an immortal god, which every evening is immersed in the maternal water and is born again renewed in the morning. Frobenius says, perhaps in connection with the blood-red sunrise, the idea occurs that here a birth takes place, a birth of a young son. The question then arises inevitably, whence comes paternity? How has the woman become pregnant? And since this woman symbolizes the same idea as the fish, which means the sea, because we proceed from the assumption that the sun descends into the sea as well as arises from it. Thus the curious primitive answer is that the sea has previously swallowed the old sun. Consequently, the resulting myth is that the woman has formerly devoured the sun and now brings a new son into the world, and thus she became pregnant. All these sea-going gods are sun symbols. They're enclosed in a chest or an ark for the night journey on the sea, Frobenius. Often together with a woman, again an inversion of the actual situation, but in support of the motive of continuous cohabitation which we've met above. During the night journey on the sea, the sun god is enclosed in the mother's womb, oftentimes threatened by dangers of all kinds. Instead of many individual examples, I will content myself with reproducing the scheme to which Phoebus has constructed from the numberless myths of the sort. Frobenius gives the following legend to illustrate this. A hero is devoured by the water monster in the west, to devour. The animal carries him to the east, the sea journey. Meanwhile, he kindles a fire in the belly of the monster, and since he feels hungry, he cuts off a piece of the hanging heart. Soon after, he notices that the fish glides upon the dry land. He immediately begins to cut out the animal from within outwards. Then he slides out. In the fish's belly it had been so hot that all his hair had fallen out. The hero frequently frees all who were previously devoured, and now slides out. A very close parallel is Noah's journey during the flood, in which all living creatures die. Only he and the life guarded by him are brought to a new birth. In Melopolynesian legend, it is told that the hero in the belly of the king fish took his weapon and cut open the fish's belly. He slid out and saw a splendor, and he sat down and reflected. I wonder where I am, he said. Then the sun rose with a bound and turned from one side to the other. The sun has again slipped out. Frobenius mentions from the Ramayana the myth of the ape Hanuman, who represents the sun hero. The sun in which Hanuman hurries through the air throws a shadow upon the sea. The sea monster notices this, and through this draws Hanuman towards himself. When the latter sees that the monster is about to devour him, he stretches out his figure immeasurably. The monster assumes the same gigantic proportions. As he does that, Hanuman becomes as small as a thumb, slips into the great body of the monster, and comes out the other side. In another part of the poem, it's said that he came out from the right ear of the monster, like Rabelais' Gargantua, who was also born from his mother's ear. Hanuman thereupon resumes his flight, finds new obstacles in another sea monster, which is the mother of Rahus, the sun-devouring demon. The latter draws Hanuman's shadow to her in the same way. Hanuman again has recourse to the earlier stratagem, becomes small, and slips into her body. But hardly is he there than he grows to the gigantic mass, swells up, tears her, kills her, and in that way makes his escape. Thus, we understand why the Indian fire-bringer, Mahatarchvan, is called the one swelling in the mother. The ark, little box, chest, cast vessel, is the symbol of the womb, just as is the sea into which the sun sinks for rebirth. From this circle of ideas we understand the mythologic statements about Ogyges. He it is who possesses his mother, the city, who is united with the mother. Herefore, under him came the great flood. For it is a typical fragment of the sun myth that the hero, when united with the woman, attained with difficulty, is exposed in a cast and thrown into the sea, and then lands for a new life on a distant shore. The middle part, the night journey of the sea in the ark, is lacking in the tradition of Ogyges, but the rule in mythology is that the typical part of the myth can be united in all conceivable variations, which adds greatly to the extraordinary difficulty of the interpretation of a particular myth without knowledge of all the others. The meaning of this cycle of myths mentioned in here is clear. It's the longing to attain rebirth through the return to the mother's womb, that is to say, to become as immortal as the sun. This longing for the mother is frequently expressed in our holy scriptures. I recall particularly the place in the Epistle of Galatians, where it said, "But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. For it's written, Rejoice, thou barren that beareth not. Break forth and cry, thou that travailest not. For the desolate hath many more children than she which hath a husband. Now we, brethren, as Isaac were, are the children of promise. But as he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the Spirit, even so it is now. Nevertheless, what saith the Scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of a bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of a free woman. So then, brethren, we're not children of the bondwoman, but are free." In chapter 5, "Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free." The Christians are the children of the city above, a symbol of the mother, not sons of the earthly city mother, who is to be cast out, for those born after the flesh are opposed to those born after the Spirit, who are not born from the mother in the flesh, but from a symbol for the mother. We must again think of the Indians at this point, who say the first people proceeded from the sword hilt and the shuttle. The religious thoughts bound up with the compulsion to call the mother no longer mother, but city, source, sea, etc. This compulsion can be derived from the need to manifest an amount of libido bound up with the mother, but in such a way that the mother is represented by or concealed in a symbol. The symbolism of the city we find well developed in the Revelations of John, where two cities play a great part, one of which is insulted and cursed by him, the other greatly desired. We read in Revelation, "Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit on a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, and having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colors, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and abominations on earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of saints, and with the blood of the martyr Jesus, and when I saw her I wondered with a great admiration." Here follows an interpretation of the vision unintelligible to us, from which we can only emphasize the point that the 7 heads of the dragon means the 7 hills upon which the woman sits. This is probably a distinct allusion to Rome, the city whose temporal power oppressed the world at the time of the Revelation. The waters upon which the woman, the mother, sits are peoples and throngs and nations and tongues. This also seems to refer to Rome, for she is the mother of peoples and possessed all lands. Just as in common speech, for example, colonies are called daughters, so the people subject to Rome are like members of a family subject to the mother. In another version of the picture, the kings of the people, namely the fathers, commit fornication with this mother. Revelation continues. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Thus this mother does not only become the mother of all abominations, but also in truth the receptacle of all that is wicked and unclean. The birds are images of souls. Therefore, the means all souls of the condemned are evil spirits. Thus the mother becomes Hecate, the underworld, the city of the damned itself. We recognize easily in the ancient idea of the woman on the dragon the above-mentioned representation of Echidna, the mother of the infernal horrors. Babylon is the idea of the terrible mother, who seduces all people to whoredom with devilish temptation and makes them drunk with her wine. The intoxicating drink stands in the closest relation to fornication, and it's also a symbol of libido, as we've already seen in the parallel of fire and sun. After the fall and curse of Babylon, we find in Revelation the hymn which leads from the under half to the upper half of the mother, where now everything is possible, which would be impossible without the repression of incest. Alleluia! The Lord God omnipotent reigneth. Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in the fine linen, clean and white. And from fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto marriage supper of the Lamb. The Lamb is the Son of Man, who celebrates his marriage with the woman. Who the woman is remains obscure at first, but Revelation shows us which woman is the bride, the Lamb's wife. Come hither, I'll show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. It's evident from this quotation, after all that goes before, that the city, the heavenly bride, who is here promised to the Son, is the mother. In Babylon, the impure maid was cast out, according to the epistle of the Galatians, so that here in heavenly Jerusalem the mother bride may be attained more surely. It bears witness to the most delicate psychologic perception that the father of the Church, who formulated the canons, preserved this bit of the symbolic significance of the Christ mystery. It's a treasure house for the fantasies and myth materials which underlie primitive Christianity. The further attributes which were heaped upon the heavenly Jerusalem make its significance as mother overwhelmingly clear. And he showed me a pure river of the water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the trees were for healing of nations. There shall be no more curse. In this quotation, we come upon the symbol of the waters, which we found in the mention of Ogyges in the connection to the city. The maternal significance of water belongs to the clearest symbolism in the realm of mythology, so that the ancients could say, the sea is the symbol of birth. From water comes life. Therefore, of the two gods, which here interests us the most, Christ and Mithra, the latter was born beside a river, according to the representations, while Christ experienced his new birth in the Jordan. Moreover, he's born from the sempiternal Fons Amoris, the mother of God, who, by the heathen Christian legend, was made a nymph of the spring. The spring is also found in Mithricism. The Pannonian dedication reads Fonti Perenni. An inscription of Apulia is dedicated to the Fons Aeterni. In Persia, Ardvechura, as well as the waters of life. Ardvechura Anahita is the goddess of water and love, just as Aphrodite is born from foam. The Neo-Persians designated the planet Venus and the nubile girl by the name Nahid. In the temples of Anaitis there existed the prostitute Herodogles. In the Sakaean, in the honors of Anaitis, there occurred ritual combats as in the festival of the Egyptian Ares and his mother. In the Vedas, the waters are called the Matritama, the most maternal. All that is living rises, as does the sun, from the water, and at evening plunges into the water. Born from the springs, the rivers, the seas, at death man arrives at the waters of the Styx, in order to enter upon the night journey of the sea. The wish is that the black water of death might be the water of life, that death, with its cold embrace, might be the mother's womb, just as the sea devours the sun, but brings it forth again out of this maternal womb. Life believes not in death. In the flood of life, in the torrent of deeds, I toss up and down. I am blown to and fro, cradle and grave, an eternal sea, a changing web, a glowing life. Goethe, Faust.